song that'll make you do that. So let's just take this in.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I am free in the Spirit. Do you want to be free? Then let me hear you say yes. Yes, I'm only here for God. I know.
Wow. You should have been in this room. If you weren't here with us live, oh my goodness, the energy in here is beyond the words of anyone that anyone could speak. We are divinely inspired and loved right here and right now.
And we're revved up.
And we are we are definitely revved up. So this morning I always like to remind everyone that this is Center for Spiritual Living Greater Boston. For our community at home, we welcome you. Hopefully that song got your blood rushing. I know it got mine rushing. And I know everybody in the room has got their blood rushing right now. But if you want to know more about our community, you can find out more about us at cslboston.org. That is a place where you can send emails, donate to us. We always welcome that. And any of the things that you would like to know about our community, you will find there. And I know that that will be evolving as we move forward. So now is the time that one of the things you will find on our website is our 4 purpose statements, and we always like to share one. And so I'm going to welcome Barbara up here as she comes up to do the purpose statement that we are sharing today.
So our first purpose statement, who we are in the world. We are a safe, welcoming, nurturing spiritual community of light, love, and joy. And we also repeat it in I statements because that's when we feel it most within our very selves.
We're getting the eye. There we go.
Okay, so if you could repeat with me,
Yes.
I am a safe, welcoming, nurturing, spiritual person of light, love, and joy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. That was beautiful.
Don't you just want to be around people who have that kind of energy? Because we know that the energy that we have within ourselves automatically goes out into the world.
Absolutely.
So it's a good thing, huh? It's a good thing.
And so now, at this time, I would like to call forward Barbara Fewitt, if you would come up and give us our invocation.
Yes.
So what a joy it is to be here this morning. This wonderful double-edged sword of today, as it is the farewell in person of Rev Ed and Rev G. Sorry. As they share their wonderful talents and love with us in this service, in this room, with all of us. And so I stand in that place of gratitude as I move into the consciousness of the One. And as Barbara just read, we are surrounded with all of us in this room who are living that, who are the light of the divine right here and right now, from the inside out. And so surrounded with that love, with that glory, with that intention, this is all perfect. This morning is perfect. Each and every one in this sacred circle here is perfect. This service is unfolding in absolute divine perfection, as it is meant to be, for it can be no other way. And so I am so blessed. I know that our technical things are working just perfectly. Spirit is right here working through them. That each and everyone who is a part of this service, which is all in this room, bringing the consciousness and the love together as one, it is just joy-filled and love-filled. For we stand in the consciousness that we are the divine in this presence, in this moment, right here and right now. And so, with a grateful heart, I simply say, Amen, blessed be. And we affirm this word by saying together, and so it is.
It is. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Barbara. So appreciate that. We got shorter all of a sudden.
We did. We decapitated us, Rev G.
And so now I would love to share that. In 1927, Ernest Holmes came up with 11 statements that are our principles of truth. And this 9th month, we share the 9th statement. And Maria, I'm so happy that you are here
I
with
am
us
happy
this
as
morning.
well.
Let me put that up on the screen for you.
There it is.
I'll make it even bigger.
Awesome. All right. We believe in the healing of the sick and control of conditions through the power of this mind.
Mm. And now we should do the I statement, I think.
Yes.
Or did we just do the I first?
No, we did. No, we did.
No, we
No, we
didn't.
did the
just
way-
fixed-
we
just
did the
changed
way-
it.
Yes.
And now we
All right, now we make it ours.
personalize it.
Yes.
I believe in the healing of the sick and control of conditions
through the power of this mind. Beautiful. Thank you, Maria. That was wonderful.
Reading.
I think we have a reading.
I believe we do. And it is from this wonderful book, Richer Living by Ernest Holmes and who is it? Raymond Charles Barker. This has to be like 12 years old, as you can see, but it is just trusted. I love it.
You see, you use that quite a bit.
I do.
Look at that.
Trust me, I need it. So I am inspired from on high as I transcend and rise up. Jesus, in utmost simplicity, proclaimed in the ecstasy of his illumination, I and the Father are one. What do you suppose would happen if you believed this, not as a mere intellectual concept, but with deep inward feeling and an expanding sense of its meaning? Would you not sell all that you possess for this single pearl of utmost worth, this drop of water taken from the ocean of being, this mountaintop of revelation? In the wisest person who ever lived proclaimed this truth, Jesus, the Christ consciousness. Should you not accept it simply, directly, sincerely? Perhaps this seems too good to be true, and yet all nature is a living example, a continuous reminder that there is a spirit animating everything, a presence diffused, a law governing, a unity sustaining, a coordinating will binding all together, a unifying principle holding everything in its place. And so today I walk in the pathway of inspiration and transcendence. There is an inspiration within me which governs every act, every thought with certainty, with conviction, and in peace. I unlock the doorway of my consciousness and I gently rise up so that the divine presence may flood my whole being with light, illuminate me with its radiant glow, and direct my footsteps into pathways of peace and joy. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you. Thank you. And so now we have the joy and the privilege of live music. So let us welcome our beautiful Karen Finale as she brings us her beautiful song. We look forward to hearing this.
So I'd like to dedicate this song to Rev Ed and Rev G, and I chose it with them in mind. Let me just see, play. Kiss today goodbye, the sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck the same to you, but I can't regret what I did for love, what I did for love. Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love. Gone. Love is never gone. As we travel on, love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye and point me towards tomorrow. We did what we're called to do. Won't regret, can't forget what I did for love. What I did for love. What I did for love.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now there's not a dry eye in the house.
And I just found that.
and you have to follow that, Rev.
Karen, thank you. That was
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen. That was so beautiful.
wow.
And so before Rev Ed steps into his moment of the limelight here, I just want to remind everybody that we are, of course, following the annual theme of Centers for Spiritual Living, which is timeless wisdom and evolutionary vision, and a lot of evolutionary vision going on here. Would you not agree with me on that one? Oh, yes, absolutely. So as we move into this, I just want to do one other quick thing here. All right, and of course our September theme is Reaching Higher, and today we will be speaking about Transcend and Include. Take it, Rivet.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I had to breathe after that song, Karen. Thank you. That was just beautiful. When I first saw the outline for today's, talk, I looked at reaching higher in relation to transcending. And 3 questions came to my mind concerning reaching higher. So the first question that came to my mind was, why do we reach higher? The second question was, what does reaching higher look like? And then the third question that came to my mind was, what are the benefits of reaching higher? So the teacher in me had to write, each point down that I want you all to visit with me. So why do we reach higher? The first thing is we reach higher to gain a better understanding of ourselves. And when we do this by going within and doing the work necessary that we feel in our reaching higher, we really end up living more our authentic self. And that to me is what our journey is about, living authentically. So that's one of the reasons to get a better understanding of ourselves that I feel we reach higher. Another one is to gain a better understanding of our place in the universe. What is ours to be and what is ours to do? Now, if you notice, I put the word to be first. So when this does occur, we really connect with our vision in life. We really connect to what our passion is. And when we do that, when we are in alignment with our vision, when we are living our passion, that's when one truly experiences the gifts and the magnificence of the divine. And that's what shows up in our reality, our day-to-day journey. And when that happens, to be connected, I know that whenever I am feeling really connected, there's something within me that bursts. There's an energy within that just lifts me up. And I know that energy that I'm feeling within goes to anyone around me. So that's another reason why I feel we rise higher. Another one would be to draw us out of the human plane of consciousness into the spiritual plane of consciousness, okay? So I know that when I look through the human eyes, I see the world quite differently as when I'm looking through my spiritual eyes, the God's eyes from within. The world looks a whole lot different. So as I'm rising higher, I'm able to see more and more through my God's eye, which, let me tell you, I like what I see when I'm coming from that. And it just makes me in more balance with what is going on in the world. So go ahead, hit it, Rev G. Thank you. And the next thing, this helps me to keep in line with what I'm doing. It's not just to see more, but to be more of the divine infinite possibilities. So I know that when I'm in alignment with that, when I am rising higher, that's when I'm able to see all of the infinite possibilities that are mine to explore in the quantum energy field. So I know up there's a massive buffet. There's a buffet of all these possibilities that I'm going to try each one out. And the ones I like, I will go back for seconds. The one I don't, I'll say thank you, bless you, and go on your way. So I'm going to nurture my body with all of the stuff that is so good for me. And really, that to me has a lot to do with self-care, which we'll get into a little later. So the next question, what could rising higher look like? First of all, it's coming out of or stepping out of our comfort zone. Individually and collectively. Now, let me tell you something. Stepping out of our comfort zone. I have to share this with you, and I've said this before. Years ago, before SOM, I always thought that stepping out into the unknown is something that really wasn't comfortable. I needed courage to do that. Now, after the 2002 to 2000, what's that, 19 years? Wow, 19 years into SOM for me. After studying it, living it, I'm realizing, I think this is important, my realization is that I don't need courage to step into the unknown. What I need to do is walk in faith. Because when I am walking in faith, I know without a doubt that the divine is always working for my best interest as well as everyone else's best interest. Okay? So it's really, for me, walking in faith. Just wanted to share that with you. Another thing, what it could look like, leaving behind old ideas and beliefs, using them as fertilizer for the new soil from which we co-create with the divine. Now, I have to say, that little pot, Rev G kind of gave me that idea. So that's a Rev G-ism, not a Rev Ed-ism. But here's what's a Rev G, what's a Rev Ed-ism. You've heard me at length talk about being the gardeners of your mind. And as we know, but that, when I say being the gardeners, of your crop, it's really tending to the ideas and beliefs that we entertain in our mind. And I've always said, if there are thoughts and beliefs that are really not self-serving, those are the ones we need to pluck out and remove and nurture or fertilize the thoughts that really go along with our best way of living for ourselves. Because again, when we live best for ourselves, everyone else benefits too. So again, if I'm not living what I'm supposed to be living, it's not good for anybody. So individually and collectively, that's quite an important thing, I think, for me to remember, and I want you to know that. So the other thing is, what could it look like? What could rising higher look like? Including all those elements that are life-supporting and serve the evolution of our consciousness. Think about that. Think about that. Now, there are elements in one's life, I can speak through experience, that really wasn't supporting and serving my highest and best good. And those elements I had to release and bless, and then really look and say, what is supporting the consciousness I am now living from? Because it all has to do with our consciousness. We keep saying over and over, it's your consciousness that creates what you live. And it's so true. It is so true. And the next one, rising higher can look like morning. Now, I can say this. Rev G and I have done a lot of inner work for us to be at the point of knowing that it's time for us to lovingly release CSL Greater Boston. Let me tell you something. That's a damn bittersweet thing that we are experiencing. We're mourning this because we, as so many of you know, we were the co-founders as well as the co-spiritual leaders of this community. And for the last year and whatever, this fine spouse that I have here, when I realized that I had to step down from that, he took it all on. So my point is, we're going through a mourning time. As much as we are very excited on what our new ministry is going to be, which we're not 100% sure, but we know that we must move on. As we're mourning, I know our community is mourning. Anytime we go through any type of change, there's going to be a mourning. Even if it's initiated by you or by someone else, that affects you. So we're all mourning to some degree. And I think that needs to be looked at and not pushed under the rug. Because we know that from the change, okay, what could it look like? We know from the depths of our being that Spirit has wonderful things in mind now for CSL Greater Boston. So we are so looking forward to see the beautiful butterfly that will emerge, that will have the name CSL Greater Boston, okay? So what are some of the benefits of rising higher individually and collectively? To be more peace-filled. I know that whenever I'm in alignment with the guidance of Spirit, there's something within me that just calms, just is so peace-filled. And when we're peace-filled, it lifts our vibrational energy. It nurtures our body. And something that I know is a definite benefit for me is that I don't have to swim upstream. Because I learned this many years ago in Science of Mind. If I'm into something and I feel I'm like a fish swimming upstream, I missed the guidance from the divine, because any guidance from the divine is not where one swims upstream, so to speak. It's a flow. It's a wonderful flow that we experience, okay? To be more purposeful, what is mine to be and do? If I know what is mine to be and do, and I follow it, sometimes kicking and screaming, like, why? Like, well, you're going to be kidding. Like when I first got that guidance from my divine, that it was time for me to move on. Like, I taught, what are you talking about? Like, this cannot be, but I had to listen. I had to sit with it. I had to go and take that within for me to feel okay. So to be purposeful, meaning living your passion, living your desires. That's very important. The next one, to be in alignment with the divine. All I know is, and I can share this with you, whenever I wasn't in alignment with the divine, it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. When I was in alignment, it was magnificent. Now that doesn't mean when I'm in alignment or following the beautiful guidance of the divine that you're not going to have some bumpy waters. That's life. That's living your life. But I'll tell you, there's no tsunamis hitting me when I'm in alignment. Little bumps, definitely. But most of the time, it's like clear sailing. And I think lastly, is there another one? No, that was it, lastly. So I want to end this part of my talk with a quote from Joel Goldsmith. All that anyone possesses is the unfoldment of their own state of consciousness. And we can have as much more as we desire by enlarging the borders of our understanding and realization. What I like is the first thought. All that anyone possesses is the unfoldment of their own state of consciousness. Please remember, it's all got to do with your consciousness. So you please, I can't make this strong enough. Make sure that you tend to your garden of thoughts and cultivate the most beautiful crop for yourselves, and you will be living a magnificent life. I love you all. Bless you.
Thank you, Rev Ed. So everything that Rev Ed just said is about rising higher or transcending. And that is what our beloved community is doing right now, is we are rising higher, we are transcending to a greater way of being in the world. And our process requires us to use each one of these things that he has so beautifully explained to us. Now, it may bring sadness. It may bring mourning, as we talked about. It may bring new joy. It may bring flying higher than we ever imagined. It may bring all kinds of wonderful and glorious things. It can also bring old fears. But we know what to do with those old fears, don't we now? We make them fertilizer in the soil of what we want, right? So we take that to a new level. We take those weeds, we pull those weed thoughts out, we throw them in the mulch pile, and then we till them into the soil, and we grow something new and greater out of ourselves. And that's what we do. That's what we are all about as a community, is coming together, holding each other in those times when we can't hold ourselves. Does that make sense? That we need that for ourselves. The most important thing for us to realize is the importance of forgiveness. Unforgiveness is like taking the poison and expecting the other person to die. It ain't gonna happen. And that's what happens. It's that bitter pill that we take and we hold on to. It is also about us claiming our freedom. I am claiming my freedom from whatever person, place, or thing that I forgive. I free them to go to their higher way of being, and I free myself to go to my upper and higher rising in consciousness to that higher level. Ernest Holmes says this about forgiveness, and I love this. Forgiveness means reconciliation in spite of estrangement. It means reunion despite hostility. It means acceptance of those who have been unacceptable. It means reception of those who are rejected. He does this in all caps. You know how Ernest Holmes likes to do things in all caps. He says this: forgiveness is unconditional, or it is not forgiveness at all. And it's so true. And it's about our freedom, and it's about rising higher. And we have to forgive ourselves first. We can be our own worst enemy, can't we? Would I say the things that I say to myself to a friend in need or in a situation? Good God, no! And yet the things I will say to myself. So I have to forgive myself first. And then look around and see what needs to be forgiven around me. It may be a daily process. In the world today, we have lots of human experience, and the human is divine. And yet, there is that place where the human can be difficult to deal with. That's why we rise in consciousness. That's why we lift in consciousness. And here is the beauty, it's like forgiveness is a significant way to practice compassion for ourselves and for others. Compassion is the practice of the principles of oneness. If I am thinking in a consciousness of oneness, I have to be compassionate. Would you not agree? Because in oneness, if I say, wait a minute, I'm one with you, no matter how out of alignment you may appear to me at this moment. Not that we would ever say anything like that, right? But if I go back into that oneness, what's it going to bring up? It's going to bring up that loving energy within me, that compassion. I can be compassionate. I can love you right where you are. And I can welcome you with a hand up if you're ready to take my hand and be lifted higher. And that's what it's about. That's what we do. That is what our community does. Compassion respects and honors the true nature of all life and each individual. True nature. And what is the true nature? God. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, exactly. God. God is the true nature. You know, we use many words for God. As we know, I had to heal the word God for myself because it had a rough edge to me. But when I healed it, I realized it doesn't matter what you call it. Infinite universal love, peace, joy, wonder. It doesn't matter. They're all perfect and they're all whole. So now, it is up to us to trust our past spiritual practices and our new spiritual practices as we move forward. And know that they will carry us in this transition for CSL Greater Boston in a place of absolute joy-filled process. Joy-filled process. There is joy in every movement. Sometimes we have to feel the sadness and then we have to realize the joy. Because the sadness just means love. It means our love. Love sometimes means the physical loss. And that's what we're mourning. Because we already know in our teaching that we're eternal, we're immortal. So we are never saying goodbye. And no matter what happens, there is some old Rev energy that is going to be holding up the foundation of CSL Greater Boston. That's what's going to be happening. No matter what, it doesn't go away. Isn't that the beauty of life? There are so many wonderful things that we can hold on to. I'm getting God bumps right now. But it's that. It's always there. It's always supporting. This community is being called to a higher way of being in the world. My call, actually what I want to do is say right now we have a wonderful and powerful team making this transition for Center for Spiritual Living Greater Boston a joy-filled process. And I would like to ask everyone who is a part of that leadership team, who is a part of this transition, to please stand so that we may all send you our love. Please stand.
Please stand. You know who you are.
I can't stand, but you can't stand, but I can stand. So this is your team. This is the team that is carrying us to the next level. Let's give them some love. Thank you all. We love you so much. And it is so powerful what's taking place in this community right now. And it's wonderful and glorious and beautiful. And as I talk about all these people who are moving us to the next level, I would just like Barbara Fewitt to please stand.
Yes.
Barbara Fewitt, as many of us know, was the person who visioned with us to begin the teaching chapter. So she's a very early part, before we actually even met, of what happened and how this community came into place. So we bless you and we thank you for that, Barbara. Karen Finale, if you will please stand so that we may recognize you. Karen Finale was leading a study group. And that study group we came to meet. And when we came to meet, we spoke with her and we had a wonderful conversation. We had all of the envelopes of our very first mailing for CSL Greater Boston. People who we didn't know, they were all Science of Mind subscribers. And we were going to put those in the mail. And Karen Finale came with us to the mailbox as we prayed over these letters, and we all together put these letters into the mailbox that brought forward this community that you see before you right here today. Yes.
Thank you.
And Rev Valerie, if you will please stand so we may recognize you. Rev Valerie showed up on our first Sunday service that we had as a community, as a teaching chapter, and said to us, I'm a practitioner, how may I be in service? And she brought us wonderful teaching over the years that allowed us to be in ministry school, and she taught classes so that our community could grow in consciousness. So thank you, Rev Valerie. So there are so many other people, and we recognize everyone who is a part of that, our practitioners, all of the people who have come up through the years. So my call for you today is to look within yourself and ask, what am I to do or be in this beloved community, in my world, and in my own life? To repeat that, to take those words in. What am I to do or be in this beloved community, in my world, and in my own life? Take that with you into this week. Ask those questions. Journal, do whatever spiritual practice calls to you. But just trust that there's an answer there, and it will be amazing and beautiful and wonderful, and be willing to step into your greater yet to be, because that is what is happening. Everything that is required to bring this to fruition is already within each one of us. Just trust. Namaste. So let's move into prayer. So let's move into prayer. Let's just take a moment to just feel the empowerment of the divine in these questions and how they will lift each life right here and right now. Just knowing that there is this one infinite universal power, this one creative energy, this one universal good that I call the Mother, Father, God, that is in all things, as all things, and through all things. This wonderful and glorious thing that I call the Mother, Father, God, that answers to so many names. Yahweh, Brahman, Allah. It does not matter the name, it just matters the understanding that there is this universal intelligence that is lifting and holding and expressing and giving of itself to and as and through all of creation. Therefore, I know right here and right now that it is giving as me right here and right now. Every cell of my body is filled with this divine, wonderful, glorious energy. And as I know that about myself, I know that about each individual in this room, each individual who is watching us online, and each individual who watches this in the future. For this divine, wonderful, glorious oneness that gives all of itself to and as and through each one, I know is filling each one's cells and energy and life and wonder with this glorious and grand and perfect idea. And so I know from this place of oneness that the divine is supporting, uplifting, and enfolding each and every one in this guidance of who they are to be in the world, who they are to be to themselves, they are to be in CSL Greater Boston. And that the being and doing unfolds in ease and grace and joy. For that is the nature of the one. And I know if there is any call for any physical needs or healing in anyone's life, as I speak these words, the divine has already heard that, and we know that this divine energy is bringing about that healing energy right here and right now to and as and through each one. And so in gratitude and joy for the gifts I know are already given right here and right now from this one divine energy, I let it rest in the law. The law that receives this word, acts upon it, and makes it so. And I say, blessed be, amen, ashe, aho. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend G. If you will now put the affirmation. Oh, you did.
I will definitely do that.
Then say this together.
Let us say this together as a community.
Yes.
I transcend into I am of my being, which includes all.
One more time.
All right. I transcend into I am of my being, which includes all.
And so it is.
And so it is. Yes, yes, yes. So I believe we have some announcements.
Yes, we certainly do. And I would invite all of us to sort of come up and maybe make this half circle around these two wonderful ones as you stand up. I don't know if you'll be able to be on camera. But be the wrong person to do this. Oh, gosh. So as all of us surround you, Rev. George L. Stewart and Rev. Edwin F. Tansey, as co-founders and spiritual leaders of Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Boston, your beloved community wanted to present you with this Distinguished Service Award for the 10 years. Well, for the courage, for the vision, for saying yes to the call, to coming to Boston, leaving a safe place where you were treated like gods at Concordia, because you had brought through so many new things, such a consciousness of love, both in parties at your house and in prayer meetings at 7 a.m. and in our hands to heart meditation service. And it just brought a whole different consciousness in creating community there. And so there, as you were moving forward and following your call to start something here in Boston, people there were sucking in like some of us are right now. and for your thank you. We love you. And for the way you modeled the principles, the way you model the teaching of Ernest Holmes through these 10 years, as this wonderful organization came together, and people who have walked through this door over these 10 years have been incredible, bringing their love, bringing their talents, bringing it from A to B and then C to D and E to F until we are all standing here in this moment, standing on the shoulders, as we say, of giants, with the energy and the vibration that everyone brought. The classes that have been offered here, they weren't offered before for years, right, Barbara? Yeah. Who also held this vision of having something in Boston. The practitioners that are now in the world, being the practitioner presence and bringing forth this teaching and philosophy, this is carried, this is never ending. This is the vibration, the energy, and the consciousness and the love of Greater Boston. And it was birthed in your family room, saying, this is what I am called to do. So we stand in great appreciation and gratitude that you said yes to that. We stand as a launching pad for you to go forward into this wonderful journey, bringing all that you are. Because the two practitioners who began this with just a glint in their eye 12 years ago, the planning, and the two men, the ministers who are moving forward in this flow, have evolved in a way that all of us have seen the ups, the downs, the all arounds of life. Every piece of life has happened in this community. And here we stand in a circle of love, in a circle of gratitude. So for all of this, we stand in love with you and in gratitude to you.
Thank you.
Speak.
Oh, now you speak.
Speak. Oh, my heart is full.
Do you want me to go first so you can collect your thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, we'll have Rev G end it. Yeah, right, okay. So,
Rev Ed's got it.
and then, yeah, because I'm few with words, as you all know, and I'm very quiet. This has been an amazing journey from the beginning to now. And I've had so many thoughts in the last month of all that has happened in this wonderful community. The highlights, all of the great people who walked through the doors through the years, as you were saying. So my heart is so full, and I am just so grateful for all of the people's energies that collectively came. And, I know that this is just going to be more of an uplifting movement for all of you. You are just so fabulous. And see the God in each other, even sometimes when it's a little challenging for, let's be real. But just know that this is a place where you're loved and nurtured. And I look forward to seeing all that's going to be. Bless you all. Thank you. This will always be our baby, so thank you. I'm complete.
And this will always stand on our shoulders
Yeah.
because this community will always be a part of who we are.
Oh.
We all have grown together.
Yes.
We have all unfolded into a greater way of being together. And this isn't a goodbye, this is just a farewell.
Yeah.
Because we'll be back.
Can you read it? What does it say?
So it says on here, Distinguished Service Award honoring Rev. George L. Stewart and Reverend Edwin F. Tansey, co-founders and spiritual leaders of Center for Spiritual Living Greater Boston, presented by your beloved community with gratitude and appreciation for 10 years of sacred service on this 12th day of September 2021. Something for our wall and our new conduct.
Oh, yes. That will definitely have
That will definitely have a special place.
Yes.
So
Is
thank you all.
Thank you.
Valerie, Barbara, Karen, anybody like to say anything or share anything?
I would just like to say you're going to be missed. It's been a wonderful experience, especially through our two practitioner leaders, Maria and myself. I will have such memories all my rest of my life, which I hope is long. And it will be always powerful to change me, and I'm grateful for it.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, for me, I don't see it at the end of anything. I see it as a transition, another challenge, for us, for you guys, to continue the same path that we've already been on. And it doesn't really come to an end, it sort of takes a turn. So now we all have a reason or an excuse, however we want to see it, to go out to Palm Springs. We know somebody out there. Yeah, and you guys always feel, you're connected to the East Coast. It's not just Rhode Island anymore.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right.
So you belong to us, and we belong to you. So.
Thank you, Ernest.
You can run, but you can't hide.
I believe that. I know you too well, right? I know you too well. I love it.
Online, Mary Ellen says, stand in love with you all.
Oh, man. Thank you, Rev M.E. We love
Thank you, Rev M.A. We love you. So,
I just want to say,
Yes.
I'm too emotional. But it's been a journey with you guys. It's been challenging, to say the least. It's been amazing, to say the least. And I just want to let you know that in spite of it all, I love you. And I will see you soon.
Indeed,
Thank
you will. Because I know you go to California.
It's not over till it's over.
That's right. It's not over till it's over.
How far are you from Tijuana?
All right.
I just wanted to say a quick little something. Thanks guys for both being with me over the past year. Went through a lot of different stuff with families and drug and everything. And, just, having a place to come to. And, all the events that we've been doing the past few years for the seasons. And, all the benchmarkers for the seasons and stuff. It was just really fun.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
think we are complete.
Yes.
I just want to say too quickly, we just talked a lot about planting seeds, and you have planted, both of you have planted this magnificent seed here in Boston, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm personally grateful for your teaching, your wisdom, your guidance, your love.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Okay,
Thank you all. Wow.
So as we complete our service for our online community, we welcome.
Yes, you may sit.
You may sit, yes, you may sit. We welcome you to join us in Zoom. We will have our Zoom connection for a few moments of fellowship. And let me put that up on here. My fellowship banner. So if you wish to join us for our fellowship, which you can then come in and see who's here. You can do that on the meeting ID of 990-6825-1729, and the passcode is 014254. And we are so grateful that everyone who was here personally live, for everyone who has joined us from home. We wish you a beautiful and blessed day. And together we say,
Not done yet.
oh, not done yet?
And so it is.
Oh, thank you. That's right. We need to do our affirmation for our giving. I forgot all about it. Slipped right. Thank you, practitioner Gina, for that. So let's read this together as we set our consciousness of giving. Sharing our gifts. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful.
Rev G, did you give places? Did you mention? Oh, you are. Here you go.
Thank you, Rev.
You're welcome.
Staff minister.
Yes. Spiritual leader.
So for those of you who are at home who want to be able to give to our community, you can do that by texting give and the amount to 833-581-0669, or you can go to paypal.me/CSL Greater Boston, or you can also go to our website, cslboston.org, and you will find the give button right there for you to click, which will take you to our PayPal to allow you to give to us. Remembering that your generous financial gifts are vital to our community. Thank you all. Oh, yes, thank you. And one final announcement, we have the visioning every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This weekly visioning is a great time to be a part of this new unfoldment of this grander vision of CSL Greater Boston. So you can join that on the Zoom link, which is there in that. You will also find that in the newsletter, and it is the meeting ID of 851-931-6828, and then the passcode is vision with a capital V. And this is a perfect time to be visioning as we move forward, so. All right, so now we can say, have a beautiful and blessed day, and together we join and say, Namaste.